last class we discussed these results. I'm just going to a recapitulation, and if anybody is there who didn't attend the class, the recording is available in YouTube. You can go through that recording. I'm just going to the detail. I'm just going to the results that I discussed in our last class on this chapter, the general equation of second degree. This general equation of second degree represents a pair of straight line if delta is equal to 0. Number 2, it would represent an intersecting straight line if delta delta is equal to 0 along with d not equal to 0, and it would represent a coincident or parallel straight line if along with delta is equal to 0 d becomes is equal to 0. So we discussed all these results in detail in the chapter pair of straight line. Next, I discussed these three results that the general equation of second degree, that means when delta not equal to 0, not equal to 0, okay, in this case delta not equal to 0, if a becomes is equal to 0 and h equal to 0, then it represents a circle, particularly when delta is equal to 0, delta not equal to 0 and d is equal to 0, it represents a parabola, and if d greater than 0, it represents an ellipse, and if d is less than 0, it represents a hyperbola. This much I discussed. So I am not going to the detail. These are the corresponding results in tabular form, and we also discussed the result that if the origin is situated on the center of a conic, then this kind of general equation of second degree would not contain terms with x and y. Okay, let me change the color. So this kind of expression containing x and y would be absent if the general equation of second degree represents a conic having a center at the origin. Only this constant term would be there, and this otherwise the purely second degree homogeneous expressions would be there in this equation. Terms containing x and y would be totally vanished. We proved all these results. Now, with the help of that particular result, we proved that the coordinates of the center that can be computed by the help of these two lines is, if x1 and y1 are the coordinates, then we shall have this first equation, a x1 plus h y1 plus g is equal to 0, and h x1 plus b y1 plus f is equal to 0. And if you go to the discussion in our pair of straight line, in that chapter we had the result that this expression also becomes is equal to 0 if this general equation of second degree represents a pair of straight line. But remember, over here we are not going to discuss the pair of straight lines. Therefore, this is the difference between the result of pair of straight line and the results of central conic. In pair of straight lines, this expression, along with this expression, these three expressions would become is equal to 0 in case of pair of straight line. But in case of general equation of second degree, the coefficient of x prime and the coefficient of y prime would become is equal to 0. This to give rise to these two equations, and this expression would not be equal to 0. So this is not equal to 0 in general. Okay, in general this expression, that is the constant term, is not equal to 0. Okay. Now I am going to discuss the new part for this class, the first result. I shall discuss this result, and along with that, today I shall present an example related to this result. And if you look at your Google Classroom web page, I have uploaded a PDF file containing some mathematical expressions that we shall discuss in this class and in subsequent classes, along with some examples. I have the PDF file over here, and this is the PDF file that I posted. You can get that PDF file and download it from the web page of my Google Classroom. Okay, so I shall discuss all these results, and that's why I've written the mathematical portion of all these results. And in subsequent classes, hopefully, we shall discuss these results, and many such examples have been solved for you. Most of them have been taken from your exercise, and some of them have been taken from the question papers of previous year examination. Hmm. Today, I shall discuss the last example. Hmm. So, but before that, let me let me continue this discussion. What is this? Actually, uh, I told you that if delta is not equal to 0, this represents a conic. Okay, and that result has already been established in our previous classes. And if d greater than 0 or less than 0, or in particular if d is not equal to 0, then it represents a central conic. Central conic means either it represents a parabola or it represents a hyperbola. So over here, this is a theoretical discussion, the first part of this class. Over here, I am going to show how can we convert this given general equation of second degree into their corresponding canonical form. We know that the canonical form of an ellipse is this kind of expression, x square by a square plus y square by b square. This kind of expression, y square by b square is equal to 1. This is the standard form of an ellipse, and if in place of plus sign, if we have a minus sign, then we shall have a hyperbola. So these are the standard forms of a central conic. And now I am going to show how can we compute the coordinates of the center. We already have two formula for finding out the coordinates, and after computation of their coordinates, how can we convert this given equation number 1 into their standard form. Okay, so let's draw a picture for you, hopefully by this software. Hmm. Let's try to draw a picture. Suppose these are the coordinate axis. This is x-axis and this is y-axis. Okay, and suppose it represents an ellipse. Suppose, and maybe the ellipse would look like this. Okay, This is the semi-major axis and this is semi-minor axis. And this is the center. Color is not good at all. Suppose this is the center. Say let us call it the center point C. C for center. And it has the coordinates x1 comma y1. This is our assumption. And we have to find out the value of x1 and the value of y1. Now we shift the origin to this point C without changing the direction of x-axis and y-axis. All right, and suppose this is the new x-axis and this is the new y-axis. Say this is our x prime axis. This is our y prime axis. Hopefully this picture is now understandable for you. Now what we are doing, we are trying to apply a translation to this x prime and y prime axis, and we know that a translation would have this kind of expression. I discussed all these results in our previous class. Let me check whether I have saved that particular file or not. Let me check, just a minute. Probably no. Let's see. No, I didn't save those results. Anyway, let me copy this portion and then start a new file. So this is the general equation of second degree, and if we apply a translation to x prime and y prime coordinate axis, then x prime would be is equal to x minus x1 and y prime would be is equal to y minus y1, because the coordinates of the point C are x1 comma y1. So these are the coordinates of the point C. So we have this kind of transformation formula, and if we have this kind of transformation formula, then this would imply that x is equal to x prime plus x1 and y is equal to y prime plus y1. And if we now put x prime plus x1 in place of x and y prime plus y1 in place of y in this expression, let us call it equation number 1. In that case, after manipulation, what we have, we actually have this kind of expression. In place of x we shall have x prime, then this is y prime would be there, plus 2 into what would be the coefficient of x prime. The coefficient of x prime would be is equal to a x1 plus h y1. You can check all these computations, plus g. I have demonstrated all these computations in the chapter of the pair of straight lines. So you can get all these results out there, plus plus 2 into h x1 plus b y1 plus f into y prime, and last term, that would be actually the constant term, that would be is equal to this kind of expression, just x and y, these are to be replaced by x1 and y1. These are the easy techniques to remember. Plus c is equal to 0. Now we know that over here in the previous class of this chapter, we proved that with respect to this x prime and y prime coordinates, with respect to these two coordinates, this kind of conic is a central conic having center situated at the new origin C. C is the new origin, and therefore this coefficient of x prime and the coefficient of y prime would get vanished. So this much would be is equal to 0. We can say that this expression is equal to 0, and this expression is equal to 0. And I have shown that this last term, okay, let us represent it by d. D is equal to this last constant term. Initially this constant was represented by c, and finally after transformation we represent this constant by the notation small d. Okay, so this expression, you can check, this expression can be written in this way: x1 into this expression plus y1 into this second expression. All similar manipulation have been shown in the chapter of pair of straight line, and last term would be g x1 plus f y1 plus c. You can check all these results. Now after putting this expression, this is equal to 0 because of this type of results. So after putting this expression is equal to 0 and this expression is equal to 0, only we shall have this much expression. In the chapter of pair of straight line, this much expression was also vanished, but in this case of central conic, for example in case of ellipse or hyperbola, this expression would not be equal to 0 in general. For a particular one or two examples it may be equal to 0, but it should not be equal to 0 in general. Okay, now if we try to solve these two equations, we can compute the expression of x1 and the expression of y1 by cross multiplication. It has been shown in this book that this is the expression of x1 and this is the expression of y1. After computing the expression of x1 and y1, we are putting their expressions in this equation, in this expression gx1 plus fy1 plus c. This is the last expression gx1 plus fy1 plus c, that is actually the quantity d. Okay, so now if we put these expressions over here and make the computation, I am not going to make the computation, I am leaving this computation for you. Okay, you please go through the computation portion. You can check that you can take ab minus a square as the LCM over here, and then afterwards you can make the computational part. Hopefully it would be easy for you. So the numerator would become is equal to delta, and this ab minus h square is nothing but is equal to capital D. And therefore this expression, the expression of small d, okay, the expression of small d, the constant term small d becomes is equal to delta by capital D, because we know that in case of central conic, capital D, that is actually ab minus h square, is not equal to 0. In case of central conic, we know that capital D, that is actually the ab minus h square, is not equal to 0. So this is permissible. So therefore, we observe that the expression of d, this constant term, the expression of this constant term d becomes is equal to delta by capital D, capital delta by capital D. All right, and therefore, what we have, we can say that this expression is equal to this capital delta. I don't know where is that capital delta. Yeah, this one is capital delta divided by d. Got it? So delta by d we have over here. Now is this much clear to you? This much computation? ব্যাপারটা ক্লিয়ার এতটুকু পর্যন্ত?
Yes, sir.
Okay, hopefully it is clear to everybody. So let's continue now. So d can be represented as delta by capital D, and now what we have, we observe that this expression, this general equation of second degree, this general equation of second degree, this total general equation of second degree now can be written in this fashion, that this much expression is equal to 0, so this term is vanished, forget about it. Again this much expression is equal to 0, this term is again vanished, forget about it, and this term becomes is equal to our capital D, small d, not capital D, small d. So we can write this expression of equation number 1 in this fashion. Over here d not equal to 0, because if by chance d becomes is equal to 0, then this delta must be is equal to 0, and we know that this delta is equal to 0 is the necessary and sufficient condition under which this kind of equation represents a pair of straight line. But we are not discussing the pair of straight line. Therefore, this delta is not equal to 0, and as a result, we can say that this d would never be equal to 0. Okay. Now, what we have? We have equation of a central conic with x prime, and with respect to this x prime and y prime coordinate axis. We now apply a rotation. Okay. We now apply a rotation over here. We now apply a rotation. Suppose the rotation is taken about an angle theta, so that this major axis, becomes is equal to maybe say capital X axis, and this axis, this axis may be the capital Y axis. Got it? So this axis would be is equal to the capital Y axis, and this axis, the semi minor axis, would be the capital Y axis, and semi major axis would be the capital X axis. Now if you look at this picture a little carefully, then with respect to this capital X axis and capital Y axis, we have the ellipse with center at the origin, and therefore we expect that with respect to capital X and capital Y axis, the equation of the ellipse should be written in standard form. That means x square divided by capital A square plus y square divided by maybe capital B square, that is equal to 1. So we expect this kind of expression, y x square by a square plus y square b square, provided we know what is this expression. It may also be the expression of hyperbola. If it is an expression of hyperbola, we would have a negative sign over it. We are not sure whether it is a parabola or hyperbola. Just we are going to discuss them together. So if it is a if it is an ellipse, not parabola, if it is an ellipse, in that case positive sign would appear. If it is an hyperbola, in that case a negative sign would appear. Anyway, so let's see. we have this kind of equation. Now we want to convert this equation into this standard form: x square y square plus or minus y square b square is equal to 1. And that's why we are putting or we are applying a rotation about an angle theta, so that the target is that this kind of term containing xy or capital XY would become is equal to 0 after applying the rotation. And we already have this kind of result. We have the result that tan of twice theta is equal to twice h by a minus b. This has been discussed in the first chapter as well as in the previous lectures of this chapter in general equation of second degree. Tan twice theta is equal to twice h by a minus b. Probably let me show you where it has been discussed. Let me show you in the previous computations already over here, hopefully. Yeah, over here. This is page number 189 in this metric classification of conic. I proved that tan twice theta is equal to twice h by a minus b. This kind of solution and this kind of equation would give us to get rid of the x and y related term, xy related term, not individually x related term, not individually y related term, the product xy related term. Got it? So I am applying this result over here. So let me get back to that discussion. Where is the discussion? This is the result I was discussing. So we now apply tan twice theta is equal to twice h by a minus b. Now we can do two different kind of approaches. We can consider two different kind of approaches. We can find the value of theta, and afterwards we can find the coefficients of x and y. And another different, and I would rather to say another easy approach would be to consider the theory or properties of invariants. We have two results that a plus b is equal to a prime plus b prime. We know that a plus b is an invariant quantity. Again, we know that ab minus a square is also an invariant quantity. So over here, you see, in this result, our target is to convert this equation into a x square plus b into y square plus d, because we know that after rotation the constant term does not change. The theory of invariant says that c is equal to c prime. That means the constant term does not change. So what we can say that if we do not actually have any xy related term, or we can say that the coefficient of xy related term is actually equal to 0. So 0 into xy. Okay. So now if we apply the theory of invariants, then what we shall have over here, in place of capital A, in your book they have taken a prime probably. Yes, a prime. In place of capital A, they have taken a prime and b prime. So let me put a prime and b prime, because capital A has to be preserved for this kind of notation. So let's write a prime and b prime. Therefore, over here, this a plus b, this coefficient of x square and coefficient of y square, that must be is equal to a prime plus b prime, because this is an invariant quantity, a prime plus b prime. And what we have, a b minus h square, that should be is equal to, you see over here, a prime b prime minus 0 square. Why? because over here h is equal to 0. There is no xy related term, therefore h is equal to 0, or simply we can write it as a prime b prime. That's why in your book they have written simply a prime b prime. Got it? So now we shall have two equations and we can solve these two equations and compute the values of a prime and b prime, and then we put them over here, and afterwards we can convert this equation into a standard form. Now I am not going to show the remaining portion over from this portion, from this theoretical part. Rather I am going to show the remaining part from an example. It is better to express everything in numerical form so that it would be easy for you to understand. Hmm. That's why let me discuss an example for you. Let me discuss this last example. I am keeping this picture over here. It would be easy for you to understand. I don't know whether it represents any ellipse or hyperbola. Maybe some hyperbola is there in this example. So what is the question? The question says about the fact that what conic does the following equation represent? So in answer to this question, what we need to do, we need to find out the value of delta and the value of d. We need to find out these two values. Over here, if we just by considering the value of delta and capital D, we can conclude about the nature of the conic, whether it represents a parabola or ellipse or hyperbola or a pair of straight line. Okay. And second part, it says that also reduce this equation to its canonical form. Canonical form is this kind of form. All right. So over here, this is the given equation, and we compare this given equation with this standard form of general equation of second degree, and we then identify A, H, B, G, F, and C. Got it? And afterwards, we compute the value of delta. Delta becomes is equal to 51,000. You can compute it using the calculator in exam. Calculator is allowed in exam. Okay, so 51,000. So this much computation would not be any easy and would not be a difficult task for you by the help of calculator. So the value of delta becomes is equal to 51,000. That means delta is not equal to 0. Therefore, we can conclude that this given equation does not represent a pair of straight line. Delta not equal to 0 is there. Then what is capital D? Capital D is equal to AB minus A square, and that becomes is equal to minus 1135. That is a negative quantity. So D negative means this kind of given equation would represent a hyperbola. D not equal D less than 0 means the given equation would represent a hyperbola. Got it? And therefore we assume that alpha comma beta is its center, alpha beta. And how to find out the center? We already have this kind of formula that finding that center can be computed by this kind of formula. A in place of x1 y1 we assume alpha beta, so a into alpha plus h into beta plus g is equal to 0, and h alpha plus b beta plus f is equal to 0. So we have these two. Where is that? Yeah, this is the file. So we have these two equations. A alpha plus h beta plus g is equal to 0, and h alpha plus b beta plus f is equal to 0, and we compute the expressions of alpha and beta. So in this way we got the expression of alpha. This is the value of alpha minus 110 divided by 227, and this is the value of beta minus 34 by 227. So it is easy to compute by the help of calculator. Now we can directly say that transforming the origin to the center C or the point alpha comma beta, the given equation can be written in this way. So you don't need to show the intermediate manipulations that I demonstrated in this theoretical part. Okay, you don't need to complete all these intermediate manipulations. Got it? So these intermediate manipulations have been shown just in order to use the expression of small d. Small d is equal to delta by d. In exam at least you can directly write all these results, and you can say that that given equation is converted into the second degree term remains the same, the x square term, y square term and xy term, they do not change, only the change is there in this expression of constant term. That constant term would be is equal to delta by capital D would be there. There is a printing mistake. Okay, be very careful about it because I am a human being, I make many such mistakes. So capital D should be there over here. This should be capital D. Okay, this should be capital D. Got it? Anyway, so now we put the expression of delta and the expression of D over here, and we get this expression. The total expression of this given equation is now converted into equation number 2. Got it? Now we apply rotation by an angle theta, so that tan twice theta satisfy this kind of result, and it ensures that in the final computational part this kind of term would get vanished. That means xy term would get vanished if we make this kind of rotation satisfying this formula number 3. Okay, and therefore this equation number 2, this equation would be converted into this equation number 4. So what we have, we find that this a, we need to compute a, and then we need to compute b, and we apply the theory of invariance. Therefore we shall have a plus b is equal to small a plus small b. We already know the values of small a and small b, that is equal to 30. Similarly, ab minus 0 square, 0, why 0? Because of the fact that the coefficient of xy becomes is equal to 0. So ab minus 0 square is equal to ab minus 8 square, and that becomes is equal to minus 1135. Okay, and then we have two relations involving a and b, and in that case what would be b? Capital B. You see over here ab minus 0 square means simply ab, so ab is equal to minus 1135. Therefore what is b? B should be is equal to minus 1135 divided by a. So we eliminate this constant b. We eliminate this constant b from this equation number 5 and 6, and if we eliminate this constant b from equation number 5 and 6, we get this kind of result, and afterwards it is a computational part actually. Now we, after computation, we have this kind of second degree equation involving capital A, and we shall have two values of capital A. These are the values: 15 plus minus root over of 15 square plus 1135. So we actually have two values. These are the two values of capital A, and for this corresponding values of capital A, we have the values of capital B. So this is actually the first value of capital B corresponding to this first value of capital A. Similarly, this will be the second value of capital B corresponding to this second value of capital A. And you observe over here that these values are just getting interchanged. That is very important observation. If you don't get this kind of values, then some computational mistake would be there in your calculation. So be very careful about this. These are actually checking steps, whether your computation is correct or not. So if capital A is this is the first value of capital B, then capital A, then this would be the second value of capital B. Similarly, if this is the second value of capital A, then this should be the first value of capital. So without any loss of generality, you can choose this first set, or you can choose this second set. Got it? You can choose any one set. It doesn't matter. Now we are choosing the first set. That means this value for capital A, that is actually the coefficient of x square, and this value of capital B, that is actually the coefficient of y square. So if we choose the value of capital A and B in this way, so capital A, this capital A into x square, okay, plus this capital B into y square, and the constant term is there on the right hand side. And now it is a matter of computation. We divide the entire expression by right hand side and convert this expression into this kind of standard form. You see over here I have taken this negative sign over here. Why negative sign? Because we already know that it represents a parabola. So x square by some maybe this kind of expression a prime square. This should be a prime square, and y square may be divided by b prime square. This should be our b prime square. Got it? So just to ensure this result, I am taking the minus sign, and then we get the canonical form of a hyperbola. We actually, because of the fact that we already concluded about the nature over here, that given equation represents a hyperbola. Okay, we already had this conclusion because d over here, this expression d was a negative quantity. That's why we can make this kind of manipulation in this last step. Got it? So this kind of manipulation would help us to evaluate or to convert a given equation. Either it may be an equation of ellipse, or it may be or an equation of hyperbola. So this kind of result helps us to convert a given equation into the corresponding standard form of ellipse or hyperbola. Now, is this much clear to you? This much I wanted to discuss in this class, and in the next class I will discuss about the non-central conic, that is actually the parabola. So thank you for being with me in this class.